What's going on, everybody? Y'all, welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. We're gonna get started here in about 30 seconds. We're gonna get started in about 30 seconds.
They whisper, come spy you. They comb their lives without prayer.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the stream. This is Jason Rembert here, the host of Moment True Podcast. So glad to have y'all here with me tonight. As we're gonna talk about something that is, I believe, we need to start having discussions more and more about mental health. And tonight we're going to have that discussion. Especially, I believe that a space needs to be carved out in the body of Christ to talk about mental health. I don't think that we talk about it enough. Oftentimes we in the church, I'm gonna say in this instance right here, in the church, we often mask mental health with a spirit or the devil or it's a demon, or just pray about it and ask Jesus to take it away. And with that type of mindset, it causes us to suppress a lot. It causes us to bury things deep down inside and not address issues that need to be addressed. So with that being said, I'm going to go into I'm going to be vulnerable here tonight, guys. And I just ask that y'all bear with me in my vulnerability because this is something that I don't normally do. So I'm learning. God is teaching me to be vulnerable because I have through the years become a very guarded person and a person that does not trust people with my vulnerability. But tonight, I need to release. I need to release. I need to talk about this. And God has pressed in me to do an episode about this. And this is not just a church issue. It's not. Mental health is not a church issue. It's not segregated. You know what I'm saying? Mental health is a humanity issue. We are losing countless souls, countless people due to mental health issues because people are dealing with real life traumas, real life hurts and pains that have weighed on the mind and the spirit and the soul for years. And a lot of people feel like there is no one to talk to, no one to help them to release, to be an outlet. A lot of people succumb to unaliving themselves or deep, dark, manic depression and different things because they simply do not have an outlet. They don't have someone to talk to or something that they can um channel this crisis that they're dealing with. And there's a lot of stereotypes that I want to talk about tonight when it comes to mental health. It's a lot of stereotypes. One of the main stereotypes that I want to dispel is the fact that whenever someone goes through this a mental health challenge or going through a bout of mental health, we always tend to want to call it a spirit, or we want to think that make a person think that they're crazy, or what I'm saying, different things. And it's that's not it. Is people have gone through real life traumatic experiences, very traumatic. Some people have gone through things in childhood. Some people, it may have been the death of a loved one. It may have been the betrayal of a spouse or a friend or something along the line triggered a person in this area. And I'm gonna talk about myself tonight. So y'all please bear with me. I want to say hello to everybody that is watching via Facebook and everyone that's watching via Instagram and via YouTube. I want to thank everybody for taking time out to be with me tonight as we dive into this topic. Okay. So before I go in, let's just say a word of prayer. Father, in the name of Jesus, Lord, we thank you for this wonderful day. We thank you for bringing us through this day, bring us through the ups and downs, the ins and outs of the day. We thank you for your light, Father, Yahweh, the great one, Adonai. We honor you. We praise you. We thank you for Jesus the Christ, your son, whom you sent on earth to be the sacrificial lamb for us. Jesus, my Lord, I want to say thank you for shedding your blood on Calvary for all of humanity. Thank you for your teachings, teaching us how to love and teaching us how to reconnect with the Holy One. And Yahweh, I ask through the name of Jesus that you would guide this conversation tonight, that you would help me be vulnerable and share so that someone can get help, someone can break free, someone can break out, someone can break through. I pray that you take over this episode tonight. Fill us with your spirit. And it is in the name of Jesus the Christ that I pray. Amen. So everyone, first and foremost, once again, I want to thank you all for joining in tonight with the live stream. This is something that I don't take like. I ask you all bear with me I as I share my story. I pray that you all bear with me. And if you are a person that is battling mental health, I want you to know that one, you are not alone. You are never, ever, 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 ever alone. And two, there is help. There is help for you. I promise you that there is help for you. So, guys, we're going to get into it. But before I do that, I'm going to do a quick commercial break, and I'll be right back in about 30 seconds. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. This is Brother Rumble with the Moments True Podcast. I want to thank you for stopping by to check out this video. Listen, I'm going to ask you, if this is your first time watching, please comment down below with your name and where you're watching from. And if you are a regular watcher, you can do the same. Also, if this is your first time, please consider subscribing to the channel if you like this content, and hit that bell notification so you can be notified whenever we go live or whenever we post up new content. Guys, I know you're anxious to get back into the video. I thank you for taking time out to watch this commercial break. Without further ado, let's get back into the video. All right, guys, we are back. So let's kind of dive into it, okay? If I can pinpoint, if I can try my best to pinpoint where my struggle began, I would say it started very young. I went through some experiences growing up that kind of shaped me. I want to. I know what I gotta say. I know what I gotta say. I'm just very nervous to say it. But I will say in the beginning, I want to say maybe around 12, 11, 12 years old. I was bullied when I was very young. I was constantly I was constantly bullied during those ages of 10, 11, and 12. Always being picked on because I was different, uh, verbally abused, physically abused, uh, simply because at the time, I was a uh, very chubby kid. My eyes were very slanted. My eyes are still slanted because um, we have Asian in our family. Um, but children can be cruel oftentimes. And growing up, I grew up the son of a preacher, and when you are the son of a preacher, you are taught that you want to see God in everything. You want to see the good in people, and that Jesus loves everybody. So should you. So should I. And I was from kindergarten to third grade. I was in a Christian private school, and at the in it was called, the name of the school was called Calling All Christians, right? And there they taught the message of love and the message of Christ, and that we should love everybody, and befriend, and oh, but when I got to third grade, uh we were moved into public school, and it was a culture shock, man. It really was. It was a culture shock. I had never seen uh, anything like it at the time. And, trying to, show myself friendly, trying to be nice, and things of that nature. I became the target of a lot of bullying. And I really didn't know at that point in my life, because I was so young, and there was really no one there. I have a brother, but there's a very large age difference between me and him. So by the time I came along, my brother was already like in his teenage years. So by the time I was in school, my brother was grown. And um, so I really didn't have anybody to really kind of teach me like how to defend myself, how to handle situations, how to do this, how to do that. So I had to learn the hard way, and I learned through a lot of physical altercations with people. And when you are trying to fit in and you don't fit in, um, I got teased a lot because of my weight. I got teased because of the way my eyes looked. I got teased because we didn't wear name brand clothes. Um, and if my sister was online, she would concur with everything that I'm saying. Um, I got teased because I was different, and when you are every day, you're being this negativity is getting thrown your way every single day. You become the first thing that you go through is a sense of maybe it's true what they're saying. Maybe I am ugly. Maybe I am unwanted. Maybe I am what they say that I am. And it causes you to go through at a young age. You're talking about 10, 11 years old. You're going through identity crisis, because now you think that you're one way, but now everybody around you is saying that you're something else. And uh and what I chose to do because of to protect myself, I chose to get very, very, very hard and very, 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 very angry because of the fact that I was going through these issues. And I would vent the issues to my father and my mother at the time. And their answer was always, let's just pray. It's the devil coming against you, son. Let's just pray. But no one could help. No one could. They they were trying to do the very best that they could to understand it, but I was battling internally now because now I'm battling with what I've been raised to believe that I am essentially this type of person. But now that I'm in public school, I'm being teased and made to believe that I'm this type of person. And I got angry and I developed I developed this alter ego, someone that I made up in my mind would protect me from being hurt. And when you do that, when you give into what we think is alter egos, but it's actually a darkness, it's a darkness. I gave myself into this darkness because I wanted so badly to be protected and accepted. And I felt like the only way to be accepted by the ones that were bullying and inflicting uh, this physical uh, punishment on me was I had to become the very thing that was tormenting me. And as I am making that transformation around the age of 13, 14, I'm starting to become this other person, Big J. Now I'm not taking no mess off of nobody. Now I'm not, you know, I'm not that kid. I'm playing sports now. I'm getting bigger. I got a muscular frame now, and now I'm realizing that through fear, through violence, through violence, you can control people through, through the fear, through the fear of inflicting violence upon them. And that person that I transformed into, he loved the fear that I would see in the eyes of whoever it was. It made me feel protected. It made me feel respected. I was so young. I started to confuse fear for respect. And while I'm dealing with this, my father passes away. I lose the very uh, person when I'm coming into the early stages of masculinity. I lose my compass. I lose my navigator. My father died of leukemia cancer. I was 14 years old. And I did not know how to process grief. I had never known grief on that scale before. I was 14, never dealt with a grief like that. And I began to spiral. I spiraled. Become very, very hot-headed, become very, very short fused. And because I'm hurting on the inside, because I'm going through issues, and I'm trying to understand, how do I be a man? How do I deal with this? How do I deal with this anger, this ball of anger on the inside of me? How do I deal with, how do I navigate this maze? And there was no one there to really show me. Now, I thank God for my godfather, Bishop Donald Tubbs in Moss Point, Mississippi. I really thank God for him, because he saw me spiraling and he jumped in. Him and my father were very good friends. The last, I would say, 7 years of my father's life, they wind up splitting for whatever reasons. But when my father got into the later stages of his life, where he was at death's door, they reconciled. And I truly believe that Bishop Tubbs he felt like he had to make it up to my father by helping me and my sister. And he tried his best to help. But the only thing I had going for me at that time was football. Football was an outlet. It was a place for me to channel my anger, to channel my rage, to channel the violence that I felt on the inside, that I wanted. When I got on the football field, I wanted to inflict as much violence and as much pain on that person lined up across from me, because I wanted them to feel what I felt. Now, for me, my mental health, I'm telling y'all, my mental health struggles began in these early stages. But for others, their mental health struggle may not have began like that. Their mental health struggle may have began through molestation, through an abuse, through, you know, different avenues. But we all of us that battle, and let me tell you something, if you have never battled depression, if you have never battled mental health, then it's easy for you to point the finger and say, oh, that person's crazy, or that person's this, or that person's that. We were all raised, every last one of us on this line, we were all raised at some point in time to think that mental health was a person was insane because they battled with mental health. I'm here to tell you, as a person that battles it on deep levels, if you never battled mental health, if you never battled with your mental health, you will never understand the depths of pain and agony and confusion and doubt and grief and anger and depressiveness that a person deals with. I by the time I'm I'm fighting back tears, man. I'm really fighting back tears. I I I never wanted any of that. And I never wanted any of that, man. I never wanted to hurt people. I never wanted to be misunderstood. I never wanted to I never wanted to be a bad person. But when you are dealing with when you're dealing with so much at such a young age, and you start building, like I said, this alter ego to protect yourself, you you're looking for guidance, man. I was looking for guidance, and I was finding it in all the wrong places, man. I started um listening to hip hop. You know, I learned listening to the Tupacs, the Biggies, the Scarfaces, the Master P's, and UGKs and Jay-Z's and all this stuff, right? And listening to their lyrics, I begin to think that this is how I need to be. I need to be hard. I need to be, people need to be afraid of me. I need to show somebody that I am not the one to mess with. But on the inside, I was frightened. On the inside, I was a scared child that felt like he had no one to turn to. So I turned to anger. Anger became a unhealthy outlet. Violence became a unhealthy outlet. Because when I would be by myself, 15, 16, 17 years old, I could not deal with all the different emotions that I was feeling. I couldn't process it all. I could not deal with the grief. Still, and to be honest with y'all, man, I'm 40 years old. Still to this day, I still have not properly grieved the death of my father, still to this day. Still haven't properly grieved because we compartmentalize so many things, man. We compartmentalize how we feel on the inside. We compartmentalize, and we, as humans, I'm telling y'all, we don't deal with our issues. We don't. We just suppress them. And then we wonder why on the inside we are feeling certain ways. We wonder why we're angry all the time. We wonder why we crashing out, why we crashing out all the time. Why we in depressive states all the time. Why are we up and down? Our lives are up and down. And this is not just I'm telling y'all, man, it's not just for people that you got billionaires and millionaires, lives up and down. They got everything that you could want in this life and still miserable, still sad, still because we're not dealing with our issues, man. We're not bringing it before the cross. We're not bringing it before God, man. We try to self-medicate. We try to handle it internally. And I'm here to tell you, brother, I'm here to tell you, sister, that what you're dealing with, it is too big for you to handle on your own. I started battling depression before I even knew what depression was. I'm talking about 10 years old, 11 years old, had no idea what it was. And the whole while I don't know what it is I'm dealing with, it's digging, it's further, it's taking root the whole time while you, man, by the time I realized what I was dealing with, I was so far behind the 8 ball. Because I started believing that stigma, that it's just the devil, it's just a demon. You got to pray it out. You got to, get it cast out of you. And I would go and get prayer. I would go and try to get the devil cast out of me and all of that. And I would go to church and I'm kind of jumping around. I'm kind of fast forwarding a little bit, but man, I would go to church and I would pray, and I'm talking about my adult years now. I would pray, I would fast, I would shout, I would, you know, and I feel good for a day or two, a week or a month. But then here it comes again. Here comes that depression. Here comes that anger. Here comes that violence. Here it comes all over again. And so back to what I was saying about when I was younger, anger became that unhealthy outlet. You have to have healthy outlets when you're dealing with mental health. You don't want an unhealthy outlet because if you develop unhealthy outlets, it's going to take you down a path that you do not want to go. It's going to take you places that you do not want to go. When I look back over my life, man, I hurt so many people. I hurt so many people. I hurt so many people, man, because I was hurting on the inside. It's kind of like screaming to the top of your lungs, and you're in a crowded room and nobody can hear you scream. And when I would go through these bouts of violence, when I would go through these bouts of anger, it really was a cry for help, but it was coming out in the wrong way. Whenever I put my hands on someone, I was hurting them because I was trying to release the hurt that was in me. And it's not an excuse, man. It's not. It's not. It's not, man. It's not. When I so because I had this volatile side that I gave birth to, football became that outlet. But then once I got out of school, graduated high school, now that I look back on it, man, I should have been getting help. I should have been getting help, but I didn't know any better, man. I didn't. And like I said, when you're raised in old school holiness, that old school apostolic way, and nothing's wrong with it, but we lacked a lot of understanding in certain areas. We didn't, back then you're taught that if you go to get counseling, if you go to get therapy, that you're weak and you don't trust God. You going to that man, you going to that therapist, you should trust God. You let God deliver you. And let me tell y'all something, man. God works through therapists. Therapies. That's not even a word. Therapies. Y'all can tell I'm country, man. But God works through therapists. God works through God. Yahweh can work through whatever he desires to work through. It does not make you weak to go to someone and say, I am not okay. And it is okay to not be okay because you are human. You're not a robot. You're not AI. You are a human being. And you're dealing with things that are too big for you to deal with on your own. That abuse that you suffered is too much for you to deal with on your own. That molestation that you went through. What's going on, Pastor Allen? Good to see you, my friend. That molestation that you went through is too big for you to deal with on your own. Childhood traumas, abandonment is too big to deal with on your own. And we try to fill the void with everything but the things that we need to overcome. Because at the end of the day, we don't want to look in the mirror, because looking in the mirror requires opening up old wounds. Sometimes my ex-wife daddy used to say this all the time. Shout out to Pastor John Cook. He used to say this all the time. A lot of us are healing, but we are healing with infection. And in order for us to heal properly, we got to reopen the wound. You have to let God reopen the wound, clean it, and then close it back up again to get the infection out. And a lot of us, we have self-medicated over the years, masking the trauma. When in all actuality, all you and I have done is put a Band-Aid over a gushing wound. But sooner or later, man, we got to deal with it because it'll cost you. It will cost you. It'll cost you your business. It could cost you your marriage. It could cost you your relationship with your kids. It could cost you your job. It could cost you in so many ways, man. So when I graduated high school, I joined the military, man. And I thank God for the military. I do. But when you are 17, 18, and you are battling this monster on the inside, the military, what it did, while it taught me so many good things, it taught me discipline, it taught me attention to detail, it taught me a lot of things, but also it taught me other things. And not shortly after my basic training, about a month later, I would say about 2 months later after I graduated from basic training and AIT training, I found myself at Fort Stewart, Georgia, about to deploy to the Iraq War. And this that's something that I'm not going to talk about on this live. Well, things that happened over there is yeah, we're not gonna talk about that. I would just say by the time I came back from Iraq, I was different. I started to bury myself in alcohol because now depression depression has stages. Okay. The depression went from me when I was young, battling being bullied, and then becoming a bully and being depressed because I don't want to be this way, but I have to be this way to protect myself. And I'm 11, 12 years old, 13 years old. Then my father dies at 14. So now I have grief that's causing me to spiral, and that grief is feeding the anger and feeding the violence. To now, fast forward, I'm in the military, 17 years old, in war. Never seen war in my life. I come back, and by the time I am 19 years old, I'm full-fledged alcoholic because now I have these memories. Now, and I'm not just talking about memories from overseas. I'm talking about memories from childhood, memories from uh past, like all of this stuff, man. And I feel guilty and I feel ashamed and I'm trying to, and I'm in pain, hurting. My spirit is hurting. My mental is stressed. And I'm drinking because I'm not drinking to get drunk. I wasn't drinking to get drunk, just to be drunk. I was drinking because if I can get drunk enough, I can forget just for a moment. I can forget the pain. And then came the drugs. And then, you know, waking up different, waking up with different women in the bed. Can't even remember how she got here. Don't even remember where it became so much to the point where the faces of the women became like blurs because I was doing whatever I could, whatever thrill I could get. I was doing it because I was trying to run. I was trying to escape the memories, escape the pain, escape the depression. Because whenever I woke up alone, whenever I had to deal with myself, it seemed like I was in this well, this deep, 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 deep well. And every time I tried to climb, my hands would slip and I would fall deeper. Depression, guys, it's not something that, oh, I just feel bad today. That's not depression. When I would go into the depression, I would be in there for weeks. You don't find joy in anything. It makes you feel like life is hopeless, like life is worthless. It makes you feel like you are worthless. It makes you feel that that you are broken beyond repair. You'll lose, man. You will lose so much. You will lose so much. So let me fast forward a little bit. So now I'm in my early 20s, and because I have not addressed the anger, I have not addressed the violence. Now I'm 21, 22, 23, 24, packing pistols, man, going to clubs, fighting. And the people that I'm around, they're getting a thrill out of it, man. It's like everybody loved being around Big J because, man, everybody felt safe around Big J because Big J don't take no mess off nobody. It was like, man, if you looked at me wrong, man, I wanted to hurt you so badly. Didn't want to stop until I saw blood. And when you're living that type of life, people find it attractive because it's a thrill. Shooting pistols was a thrill. And I, in so many ways, I embraced it. I started learning to love it, to love being violent, to love being angry. I tricked my mind. I trained my mind to love inflicting pain, to love being a horror to somebody, because on the inside, I was sorely afraid that if I ever opened up and showed the real me ever again, that it would get rejected. That's why I'm not a fan of bullying, man. I'm not. I'm not a fan of bullying. And if your child, if you are watching this and you are aware that your child is bullying somebody, please get them to stop, because it's not a tactic to make somebody tough. It's none of that. You can cause severe damage to someone mentally. Do you understand a lot of these kids that go into these schools and shoot up schools are victims of bullying? They've been bullied so much that they've reached a point in their mind where it snaps, it breaks. The military taught me to embrace the violence, because you cannot be in war. You cannot fight in war and be loving and tender and caring. You have to become a savage, because at the end of the day, if it's them or you better choose you. They taught me how to be a savage. They taught me how to hone my anger, to hone the violence, and form it and channel it to whatever use that you want it to be used for. To use your anger intelligently. But I was just a kid, man. I was just a kid. I was messed up. I was messed up, man. And if you watch it, if you will follow this channel, you know how I've shared my testimony many times of how I came to Christ, how Jesus saved me. But you know what? When Jesus saved me, he saved me with these issues down on the inside. So now I'm going to church. Now I'm praising the Lord, and I'm shouting and speaking in tongues, being baptized. All of this while I still have suppressed this beast. And what happened was the beast didn't come out then. It didn't come out. It just went to sleep until it felt the need to be awakened. Because every now and then, when I felt some kind of way in church, that beast would come out. And my pastor was one of the first ones that saw it. And he began to tell me, You got to deal with this anger. You got to deal with this anger. You have a rage in you. But at the time, I'm thinking, what are you talking about? I'm saved, man. I love Jesus. Because that anger, that rage, it'll trick you. It'll make you think, man, you could tell some things to yourself. You can train your mind in such a way that you can't even see the thing that's doing you damage, because you'll be done tricked yourself. I tricked myself. I'm thinking I'm just this. I'm filled with God's spirit. I'm filled with the spirit of Yah, and I love Jesus. And, I'm just, I'm loving God, and I'm this and I'm that. But the whole time, that thing was there, man. It was there, hiding in plain sight. Man, my pastor used to tell me, like, he used to tell me when I was scalding at people. I didn't even know I was scalding at them. He used to tell me, don't look at them like that. I'm like, what you talking about? He said, you were scalding at them like you wanted to choke the life out of them. People would look at me and be afraid to come shake my hand or give me a hug because they said I looked unapproachable. But me looking outward, I'm thinking I'm just normal. And I'm going to tell y'all the turning point. The point where I'm going to tell you what God used to start showing me that I had a problem. He used my ex-wife. And when I say he used my ex-wife, I'm not saying he used her in a negative way, like she a terrible person. I'm not saying that. God used her to show me what was on the inside of me. God used her to show me that there are things in you that you have to address. No one can touch you. This is when I learned that God is not, whenever God wants you to start dealing with you, he's not going to use the thing that is furthest away. He's going to always use the thing that is closest to you. The thing that affects you so. And if you are married, you know what I'm talking about. Or if you have been married, or if you have been in any type of serious relationship, you know exactly what I'm talking about. No one in this world can affect you better or worse than the person you wake up with. Now, I'm not just talking about somebody that's you just sleeping around with different people. I'm talking about someone that you are committed to. I was battling mentally so badly that I thought I was loving her. I thought that I was opening up to her. But when I look back on it, I realized I never did. I never did fully open up to her. I never did fully love her correctly. Because when you have built, if you were like me and you built this thing on the inside to protect you, then what happens is when you think you are at a place in your life where you are ready to love, it will not let you love. not beyond the parameters of how it wants you to love someone. I'm telling you, man, there were times my ex-wife used to tell me, it's like you are a different person. It's like every day you're a different person. Because I built all these different alter egos. And at the same time, I'm dealing with depression. And at the same time, I'm trying to be a husband, trying to be a father, trying to give something that I do not have. And at the same time, all while trying to be a minister in the church. That's why, man, I'm telling y'all, man, we have issues in us that need to be addressed. We put on so many different masks. A lot of us have been wearing the mask so long that we think that it is that we think the mask is how we really are. When it's not you, it's a mask that you have worn for years. I wore a mask for years. My ex-wife thought she married me, but what she married was the mask. I'm telling y'all, man. I'm never gonna get on a camera and throw her under the bus, tell what she did or this, that, and the third, because that's between her and God. I can only talk about me. A lot of us are wearing masks. You making money hand over fist, but you got a mask on. Got a beautiful car, living in a gated community, got a mask on. Husbands and wives can't even show the real them to each other because we wearing a mask. We raise our children to wear masks. We preaching with mask on. We prophesying with mask on. We singing with mask on. And then the worst thing, we come into the house of Yahweh to lift our hands to him, to quote unquote worship him, and we worshiping him through a mask. And he sees right through it. That's why a lot of our worship is never received, because we worship him with a mask on. I had a mask on for 38 years. I wore a mask. It was not until 2 years ago that I finally got to a place where I said, God, I can't deal with this. I need help. I finally got to a place where I started going to therapy and talking to people. But so many of us wearing a mask. We've worn the mask so long that we don't even know who we really are on the inside. God has just not started giving me the boldness to share what I've dealt with, what I've gone through. He's just not brought me place to be vulnerable enough to share. Because a lot of times I thought that if I shared it, it would bring rejection. If I shared it, people would make fun of me. If I shared it, people would look at me funny. They would call me crazy. They would, you know, different things. But God began to show me that my deliverance was in the sharing. Now, I still battle depression. I still battle it, man. I go through those bouts, man, where when it comes, I shut down, man. I get quiet. I shut down. I don't call anybody. I don't talk to anybody. But it's not, now it's to the point where it's not consuming me. God is teaching me how to how to process my emotions. He's teaching me how to go through the baggage, to unzip the to unzip the suitcase, so to speak, and go through the baggage. I told someone a couple weeks ago. I shared not to this extent, but I shared with a friend of mine what I deal with, this depression, this manic depression. The military diagnosed me about about 4 years ago. The military diagnosed me with PTSD and manic depression, deep manic depression. And when they diagnosed me, I finally started doing research on what it is and what it does and how to combat it. Like I said, I started going to therapy and talking about issues because a lot of things, the depression, a lot of things begin to feed it. Like I said, the bullying, then the violence, and then the military, and losing my father, and then the divorce. And, just recently I had a house fire where I got scarred up pretty bad. And that's a whole nother testimony in itself. I got videos on my YouTube on the testimony of the house fire documentary. We documented videos of me before surgeries, after surgeries, all that. So if y'all want to see that, all that's on my YouTube. But that was a different level of depression because now I'm looking at scars on myself, permanently disfigured. Like, let me show y'all. Y'all see this right here? Like, this is a skin graft. All this is a skin graft, right? All in the fire, all of this was gone. All this here and different. I don't know if y'all can see it, but when I got burnt up, like all of this was burns, skin gone, hanging off me and gone. If you look at my face here, like different blemishes, like on my face, like even like here and here, like part of my right ear was melted together. Um, During the healing process of that, I went through a depression because I'm in the mirror. I'm looking at my face. My face was all scarred up and burnt up. God supernaturally touched my body because how my arm is here, all of this, forgive me, all of this and all of this supposed to have been like this. And God came in my hospital room and supernaturally touched my body to where my face, the doctors was shocked because my face and my arms began to heal so quickly. They couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe it. But I would look in the mirror. When I first got the bandages took off my face and off my arms, because they had me. shout out to the burn center out there in Atlanta, Georgia, man. Shout out to them. They did a great job with me. But they had me wrapped up like a mummy, man. I was looking like a straight up mummy. I was, bro. I mean, wrapped, bandaged up. The only thing I had was holes for my eyes and for my mouth. Everything else was, well, I was bandaged up, man. I had burns all on the top of my head and everything. If I was to take my hat off and really show y'all, I got blotches. Where the burns were, I got blotches, like all over my head and stuff. I would, when they took the bandages off, I would look at myself in the mirror and I would go into a depression because I'm like, man, here I am. I'm permanently disfigured, scarred for life. Never, my face will never be the same. My arms will never be the same. And it threw me, man. It threw me. It threw me like, and I got to give my ex-wife her just due because she tried, man. She tried her best to, help me get back where I needed to be. But that depression, man, it took me to a deep, 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 deep place. And that's why I say, like, even now, God has been teaching me that it is a strength. It's a strength, not a weakness, but a strength to talk about it. It's a strength to go to therapy. It's a strength to tell somebody, hey, I am not okay right now. It's a strength. It's not a weakness. It's not a demon. It's not a devil. It doesn't mean that you're not saved. It doesn't mean that you don't love God. It doesn't mean that God don't love you. It just means that I am a human being and I am struggling with life right now. There's so many of us struggling with life. Whether you go to church or if you're watching this and you go to church, or you watching this and you don't go to church, there are so many people struggling with life. Life is beating so many of us down because we can't let go of the things that was done to us, because we can't forgive those that have trespassed against us. And some of us can't forgive ourselves. It took me a long time to forgive myself, and I'm still in the process of forgiving myself, because when I look back on all the people I hurt, all the women I hurt, when I look back on all the bad that I did to people, getting over on people, the manipulation, the pain I inflicted on people, and when I look back on how I could have done things so much differently. I could have. And if you are watching this and I have done you wrong in any way, please know that I am sorry. From my heart, I am sorry. I am so, so sorry. I wasn't right back then. I wasn't right. I wasn't right. There's so many people that are fighting for their lives, man. They're fighting. They're fighting for their lives. In that deep well, like I said, they've fallen into the pit. They've fallen into the well. And they're trying to get out, but every time they try to lift themselves up, they slip. Their feet slip, their hands slip, and they go further down the well. And I want to tell you that it is okay to not be okay. Don't deal with it on your own. Don't try to self medicate on your own. It's not going to work. The first thing you got to do is you got to take it to Jesus. You got to bring it to Him. And then you need to find someone to talk to. You need go find a counselor, find a therapist, your pastor, or, or someone who will not judge you, who will not hold it over your head and not, throw it back up in your face, but someone who understands, and share it with them. And keep sharing until you feel free. Keep sharing until you feel free. That's why I'm sharing tonight, because I want to be free. And I want you to be free. That's how my in Jesus'